And welcome back everyone for the Winter Osmania Grand Slam Tournament. This is a match between Sparky C28 and Saemitsu C20, and I'm joined by none other than Epic Man 2. How are you doing?
Hello everyone, and thank you very much for that Poketoin. And as usual, we're gonna be having yet. Oh my god, no! Don't tell me it's still cutting out. Oh,
I feel like it is indeed back, sadly.
okay. What exactly is the issue, bro? I swear at this point, I just can't pick a struggle. Oh my god.
So while Epic Man does fix his mic, it does look like we do have a warm-up there, which is actually likely an SV map, an evening SV map by evening.
Yeah, I have a feeling this was Saemitsu's warm-up, or at least on the contrary to Sparky's warm-up, as some of us probably would have seen earlier.
And, yeah, as you can see, this is clearly Saemitsu's warm-up, as how he's going with the map. He clearly learned it. As it looks like Sparky is actually maybe side-reading the map, probably. And yeah, this is actually a very aggressive FC map with some stutters and especially those fast bursts, which are quite hard to take on, especially on side trade. And Sparky taking another drop there.
All right, check 1, 2. Is my mic actually working? Still cutting out.
Yep, it is still cutting out.
Okay, try now. The Fitness Grand Pacer Test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues. The 20-meter pacer test will begin in 30 seconds. Line up at the start. The running speed starts slowly, gets faster each minute after you hear the signal. A single lap should be completed by the time you hear this sound. Okay, I think, did it pick up all of that?
I think it picked up everything. Though I do wonder what you read each time you try to test your mic.
It's literally just the Fitness Grand Pacer Test. I literally just like, do this. Oh yeah,
So we are over with Saemitsu's warm-up. I'm not sure if Sparky's one was played already.
oh no, it was.
Yep, it was, so we're getting into the wars then.
But yeah, despite that, we're gonna be okay.
Okay, so Saemitsu actually running 48 points, so Saemitsu is gonna win the wars and is gonna get to protect first. The thing with these players is that they kind of have similar skill sets, though I feel like Saemitsu have quite a bit of the upper hand in most of them. This is gonna be quite a particular match. And this is also a losers bracket match. So if one of those two players lose, this is I go bye-bye.
Yeah, I have basically just like done some adjustments to my microphone earlier, and I think now it's like okay, I'm checking the stream now.
Check stream.
I actually sound clear right now, so I think I should be good. So, nonetheless, All right, so nonetheless, I guess now we are going to be going onto the rolls and protects, as we can see here, and I think it seems like Saemitsu would have won the rolls. So Saemitsu going out for protecting Hybrid 2 first thing. It's going to be Chinese Restaurant getting protected, and Sparky going to be going to protect Ellen free on the contrary as a counter, and while also banning Rice 6. So Accumulative Town banning out the very dire Rice Court Jack map of this map pool, which basically contests everyone, and Saemitsu also going to be banning another Rice on that note as well. So that's going to be Rice 5 Iambic 9 Poetry out of the equation. So both players banning out a Rice map. I have a feeling that both of them probably favor some of these Ellen oriented maps like a bit more, just like knowing them. This is going to be a pretty dangerous This is going to be a pretty dangerous match for both of these players. It's gonna, especially considering that these are both like individuals that are very well known in the tournament sphere. You have the likes of Sparky, who is very sort of well known, and obviously I mean, they don't really need any introduction. If you've been to a competent tournament that existed out there, you would have heard of them. And Saemitsu also being very well known for things on the mapping side of things as well, being like a bit of a more up-and-coming mapper. You've seen them in various tournaments such as 4DM and some other ones as well. But it seems like despite that, Saemitsu is going to be picking Ellen 4 to start things with this match off. So it's going to be none other than Our Love by Kobe, as we can see here.
Oh, you love me?
Huh? Nah, bro, I'm straight.
Just kidding. Quite the title there. So indeed, Saemitsu picking N4, though I'm curious what the Rice are gonna look like for those players. So we'll see.
Yeah. But yeah, it seems like with Saemitsu picking this map out, this is going to be a dangerous situation for both these players. This is the final match of the quarterfinals weekend, so whoever is going to be winning this is going to be the final player making it into the semifinals weekend in the losers bracket. So both these players are going to be contesting to see who is going to be facing Ruler next on in the bracket. I guess there isn't really much else to say over there. Let's just see how this map goes.
Indeed. As just after this match, this is actually going to be the Maple Showcase for the semi-finals.
Yep. And I guess there isn't really any other way to put it. Okay, my bad.
Yep, I feel like your mic just cut it off, like completely.
Oh no, it didn't. I just stopped speaking. I just lost my train of thought.
Oh,
it happens. But anyways, despite that, both Sparky and Saemitsu getting through this intro, as we can see here, Saemitsu appears to have the upper hand so far. Just not taking the same sort of axes, drops, and sacrifices as Sparky had made along the way. But despite that, the score lead is still relatively close. No, despite all these patterns, and despite how Saemitsu is just simply thriving off of everything so far, both players not having taken a single miss so far is only just a matter of the misjudgments, as we can tell from here as an outsider perspective.
indeed, though we're only halfway through the map, so anything can happen, even combo-wise. Both players are not safe yet. So we have to wait.
Yeah, and it seems that Sparky might have made another axie drop along the way that's only going to bring the lead further into Saemitsu's side, which is something that they wouldn't want in a scenario like this, especially given the circumstances of this match. This is going to be probably one of the final matches for either of these players, depending on how things are going. And so far, with Saemitsu having the iron fist of this map, if you will, it's only just going to make matters better for them as they just simply kickstart the match off with their point. And I don't think there's really any more room for error for Saemitsu here, getting through this LN map.
Indeed, there's not much difficulty left as this map ends, basically.
Yep, and both players with very, very close scores, actually. Like Sparky getting onto that 960k score, but Saemitsu just getting almost 990k, just setting the tone, already setting the precedent of this match alone. It's now down to it is down to Sparky to simply try and see if they can make just see if they can make and leave a bit of an impression on in this match alone. But it seems like from what we can see here, Sparky's gonna have to like maybe it's gonna take a moment to like just restart their client while also picking Ellen free right out the bat. So I have a feeling that the Ellen maps are probably gonna be exhausted really quickly, but just knowing both of them.
Indeed, both of them actually have really similar skill sets, preferring Ellen's over Rice. And yes, as you said, Sparky restarting his client may be the cause why he got such a low accuracy on the first map. Maybe he was having client issues, lags, or things like that.
Probably. I mean, it is the sort of scenario that happens with a lot of maps in general, especially in tournament settings. Like, you get to see a lot of situations and encounters where, like, sometimes your client is just not clienting. Like, it's not, like, doing the instructions that you give it, what you essentially order for it in a way, not in, like, that sort of way, but you basically get the gist of what I'm saying, as you can see here.
That is a nice quote. My client is clienting Epicman 2 2025.
I don't know. I have like way too many quotes to like think of in my head, but I guess this is just part of my character. I mean,
I mean, while we wait for Sparky to restart the client, I think we'll just have to wait and fill in with some speech.
yeah, and it seems that Saemitsu is gonna be taking a bit to sip some tea as well, as they say in the chat here, as we can see. That was originally what I was planning to do, like just before this match began, but as it turns out, I'm not gonna be taking. I'm just gonna take a little sacrifice just to be able to provide some more entertainment for you all, as this is the final match of the quarterfinals weekend. So. But I think despite that, it seems that Sparky is once again back in the match. So this next pick is probably already going to be underway, as we can see. Just like, as we can see, both the players having sent out their good luck, have fun. They're going to be facing each other on none other than Temptation. So like, Sparky tempted to try and take their first point off of Saemitsu, as we can see here. Saemitsu.
Are you okay?
Oh, no, I'm fine. Okay, what I was saying, Sparky basically is tempted to see if they can take their first point of the match, as Saemitsu had already left a strong impression to start this match off. So Sparky gonna be aiming to try and deliver something on a very similar note in their favor. But so far, it seems like getting through like some of these maps, as we can see so far, Sparky's been faltering a bit behind Saemitsu, as you can see here, just only behind by about 8,000 points, and just because of, and a lot of these like misjudgments coming off of like some of these like relatively weird sort of clunky like Ellen releases that really just really have like a very specific window for you to be able to hit them accurately. And as we can see, it's not really working in the best favor for Spark, as we can see here, but working for Saemitsu on the contrary, which is definitely really dangerous to like really bring yourself into. If like literally your opponent's like basically the strongest in the same field as you are when it comes to these kinds of maps, where it's like basically a contest on like who's like the better like Ellen main or something like that.
Indeed. As Sparky at the beginning of the map did indeed get a lot of misjudgments, and that makes him having a huge fall behind Saemitsu. So he really needs to find, and he does find the 200 as well, but especially needs Saemitsu to find misjudgment and maybe drops, but it does not happen just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Despite the big difference, despite the elephant in the room for like why the results are the way they are in terms of score difference with like both these players being quite ahead in accuracy, like just very distinctive between each other in terms of accuracy. Sparky's like efforts and like just simply being able to maintain the FC on this map is nothing to scoff at, especially for the fact that they still got the 956k, whereas Saemitsu getting yet another 980k score. That's just going to bring Saemitsu and allow them to get that first breakpoint to just simply prevent like some sort of like tie in sort of tug of war between the scores just simply happening early on.
Indeed, no, Saemitsu being in a very comfortable position right there. And this is actually his pick on top of that, so he really has the occasion to get that third point out of nothing from Sparky. So Saemitsu really in a great position right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we can see, now it's down to Saemitsu to like just pick what they might like try and aim for next. So not either another LN, or maybe they wouldn't want to risk it like in this match, considering that if both players like just simply go for like all the LNs like early on, as they're like go for like all of their most comfortable maps like just right after the match began, then that's probably not going to add up very well for either of them in terms of fate, because like this just removes like all of the comfortable maps for both these players to just simply like use to their advantage. So like if they do end up using all of the remaining LN maps, so that being LN1 and LN2, and also basically like just stuff like Hybrid 2 especially, then that's gonna be a bit of a problem, as then that'll only leave them with the rice maps to use, and I don't think either of these players would want to face each other on these rice maps. But despite what I've said, it seems that Saemitsu is gonna be picking out rice free instead, just to shift the ties a bit as this match goes on.
Indeed. The thing is that though both players are very good and players, the thing with tournaments is that the most important is that you do not pick what you are most comfortable with, but what maps you are the most likely to win. And maybe Saemitsu does know about Sparky deficiency in rice and roast skill and things like that, and those decide to pick rice because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And picking out this rice map, which is honestly a banger in its own right. Like, it's a very like chill song, but like but with this being like technical in the way that it is like very sort of dump charting oriented, it feels very reflective of the song's like overall mood, and I think it really just like gives it its own character in a way. So with this being yet another banger pick of this map pool, like it seems like both players gonna try and like see who's gonna be winning a point off of this. And so far, it seems like we've seen Saemitsu take some accuracy drop like early in the map, but that's not going to matter way too much, as Sparky has like a very slim lead. But this could probably drop at any moment, and taking those greats, as you can see here, that's basically just going to be it's just going to make this map all the more dangerous for them, as this point lead just lowers to being under 100, and now the score is just flickering with both these players just having the same exact accuracy almost. Any major misjudgment is only going to make matters worse for either of them, and it can be a very fatal shot for either of them, especially as we see Sparky taking some misjudgments that's just going to give Saemitsu the stronger lead for the time being, getting into this first chorus.
Indeed. And as I said, I don't know, I said nothing, but Saemitsu does get the drop, and that's gonna give the lead back to Sparky actually.
That was actually really interesting. I mean, like, taking that unexpected miss, like, right after I just finished, it seems like Sparky gonna be finding a little cushion to work with. Saemitsu just bringing themselves back into the combo cap. As we can see here, this is only the first half of the map. So if Sparky does end up winning off this pick, then that's actually going to be a very good situation for them in particular, knowing that they are going to be building a bit. They're going to be building some more points if they want to keep themselves in this tournament. But Sparky taking that miss as well, that's only going to bring the lead back to Saemitsu. And that's basically going to bring some pretty fatal damage onto their scores. We can see here, unless Saemitsu takes another miss, but because there is still a lot of time in the map left. This is only 3 minutes, so there's a lot of room for error and mistakes, as we all know.
Indeed, there is a room for errors, but the thing is that Sparky does have to pray for those errors to happen. So there is, I mean, he can still try and climb back up the accuracy, but this is pretty much up to Saemitsu to try and find those mistakes, but this is Sparky who's gonna find those. So the lead gonna grow further more for Saemitsu.
Ooh, this is a very dangerous situation for Sparky, as we can see here, as like Saemitsu has basically like managed to combo through a lot of these bursts and also being able to maintain some form of accuracy on them, still managing to hang on to the still managing to like just simply hang on to their lead despite the amount of struggles that this map would have introduced. This definitely sort of like shows as to why like none of these players would really want to face each other on Rise, but as we can see here, Sparky missing, but even with Saemitsu missing right at the end, that's not going to change anything as Saemitsu makes it 3-0.
Indeed. And Saemitsu getting another, no, this is not a breakpoint. Though this is up to Spark to pick a map, but the thing is that since Saemitsu is also good at LN, the thing is that this is quite not easy for Sparky to pick a map.
Yeah, absolutely. And with how both these players just like have pretty limited options, I guess like it seems like Sparky's actually going to be picking Hybrid too. So surprisingly going to opt in for like the LN biased hybrid. This is one of the few hybrids that are available on the table, as we can see here, given that this is like a map that's arguably in a very different style and on the contrary to like all the other maps in this map pool, knowing that this is like a relatively old map. This is basically 9 years old at this point.
Indeed, almost a dozen of years for this map. This is quite old.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't really know, but Epidermis 6, free? Do I still sound British when saying free? I thought most people just get baited into thinking I sound American at this point. What?
What? Maybe you don't know things about your origins. Climax.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess that's just what happens when, like, I'm just born a Polish guy, and then I just raise myself off of, like, American YouTube or something. There you go. That's your lore. Get lore dropped.
Epic Man 2 lore? No way. One day they will be...
What is that character, bro? That looks Georgian. Okay, anyways, despite that, both the players, both Sparky and Saemitsu, just kickstarting this map off. So we can see Sparky had taken a bit of a drop earlier in the map, but Saemitsu also hanging on a bit. It's only going to... Oh, that's Greek. Oh, my bad. But so far, so good for Saemitsu, as we can see here. Basically hanging on the lead by a bit, just eating off of Sparky's pretty gnarly misjudgments, as we have seen here. But even that is something that's so small in such a short amount of time. This map is only just under a minute and 50 seconds, so like any mistake here can just mean way too much for either of these players here, especially considering the fact that there is a lot of rise difficulty this on top of this LN difficulties we can see here.
But this is quite close still, and as I say that, Sparky does get the lead furthermore, And as we get to the KI, both players still have seen the map, so nothing safe yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with like some of these misjudgments from Sparky earlier on, just not being able to sort of like use like just falling sort of victim to these kinds of patterns that are very sort of like specific in terms of like direction, and also just like having these like Ellen streams that just like sort of move while there's like rice notes like just scattered around them. It's only just working in favor of Saemitsu here as this map just ends like on the spot.
Indeed. Saemitsu just eating those noodles there and taking that point, that break point on top of that, making him 42 basically nothing.
Yeah, absolutely, and a very great effort from Saemitsu, especially like still maintaining and getting the 984k on this map. Sparky not too far behind with a 970k, and also like having just only 25 greats and 1 good, etc., which is still very good in its own right. But now, despite that, with Hybrid 2 being done, Saemitsu is gonna make it 4-0 for them. So this puts Sparky into a bit of a bad position going into the end game of this match. This is the final match of the quarterfinals weekend. So if Sparky does not find any more points, then this is gonna be pretty bad for them given the circumstances, as they are running out of picks that are very comfortable, really.
Indeed, and that this is actually Saemitsu's pick, so he can basically pick what he wants, and this is gonna be Rice too.
Yeah, so this one being yet another Rice map to go off of the board. I think at this point both these players are just testing the wars on like either on any of the departments, just to see just for fun, like seeing that this is the final match. So there isn't really like much else to do here, as we can see.
Indeed, and this is actually Saemitsu's pick to be able to get to the match point. So if he does get that point, that means guaranteed tiebreaker for him. So this is this map is quite hard. This is a very technical, abrasive, mini Jackie map. This is one of the hardest map of this pool, so I think this is really a great pick for Saemitsu there. Especially considering it's been quite consistent throughout the maps, well, except for Rice 3, so he did get much less misses than Sparky, and especially a much better accuracy. I think Sparky does try to get that combo, but the thing is that when you try to get combo but you're not comfortable, you start to get some accuracy misjudgments and you start to fall behind your opponent. So we have to wait and see how it goes. Well, I guess players in this tournament are very strong. I mean, there are some players in that tournament which blew my mind, like Binlai or players like that. Though this is actually Saemitsu who's gonna take the first drop, giving the lead to Sparky there. So quite a dangerous pick, but the thing is that, as we've seen in Rice 3, Sparky does get the lead at first glance. But the thing is that at the end of the map, Sparky does get those misjudgments, which gives the lead back to Saemitsu. But this looks like this is not the case here. Saemitsu drops again, giving Sparky quite a cushion to work with. So we're only at the first third of the map, so nothing is done yet. Sparky is not safe just yet. Especially considering this map is 2 minutes and 58 seconds, and there's very fast patterns in it. This is quite a physical map right here, so Sparky really needs to hold on into their combo and their accuracy if they want to keep that lead.
Hi again. Okay. With Saemitsu taking some sort of fatal drop earlier in the map, which I didn't get around to seeing, it seems like Sparky gonna be hanging on to the lead for the time being as we are now past the halfway marker of the map. There is only like a lot of dense sections left in the map, so for Sparky to prevent that sweep from happening and from being complete, Sparky would not want to simply go out of this tournament with a sweep if this ends up being the case, considering that this is the final match for one of these players again, considering that this is in the losers bracket. So like, any mistake is only going to be very futile for anyone here.
Indeed. But Sparky does get the drop, but is there enough time? And most importantly, is there enough score or lost with that drop? But it looks like this is not gonna be the case as we head towards the ending of the map here.
Yeah, absolutely, and this just getting through that final jump stream is going to be none other than Sparky making their first point and leaving the best impression they can on the Rice map here. Our beloved commentator winning their point off of Saemitsu here, just preventing that sweep from being complete. So now with this being like a good situation for Sparky, they just need to try and secure some more points off of the board if they want to keep themselves afloat in the tournament. And now they're going to be going for Rice 4, surprisingly, funnily enough, which is going to be none other than the worst. So like, this being like a lot more technical, like in comparison to Viscrack, this is still like stream oriented in principle, but it's going to be very rigid if both these players are not like maybe as capable of Rice. And we've seen it from these Rice picks that they are maybe more well versed when it comes to Allen patterns in general. So like, this might be pretty dangerous depending on the scenario.
Indeed. The thing is that, considering that Sparky won the previous Rice map, maybe he wants to go and try with another Rice map. And especially considering this is a much more technical, might bet for some drops from Saemitsu to be able to get another point here.
Yeah, absolutely. And overall, with like both these players still doing really well on like fields that they're not as sort of well versed in in comparison, they're still like doing very well, putting out a lot of valiant efforts into their performances here nonetheless. So even with whatever the outcome of this map may be, it's still going to like, it's really just down to both these players on like what they want to do now, as this is once again the final match of the quarterfinals weekend. So like, it's either now that Saemitsu wants to just simply end the match here and just simply advance to the semifinals weekend, or Sparky's gonna be wanting to start a bit of a reverse streak, as we can see here, as now basically the Ellen maps are looking very dry right now. There is not much left to choose from, except from forcibly going into some of these other picks overall.
Indeed. Though it looks like we're getting into the map anytime soon. Indeed, as we're going through the map.
Yeah, so both these players having readied up finally for what may be one of the worst like battles to face like against each other. Like, they're basically sort of equalized and basically under the same sort of like reign in terms of realm, in terms of like when it comes to who can be the better contester in like fields that are not in their best favor, as we can see here. And so far, with some of these like really dump oriented patterns just being thrown out early on, it seems like Sam is just gonna have the early advantage, just simply hanging onto the accuracy, while Sparky not too far behind. They're only behind by about just under 2,000 points. So any mistake that Saemitsu makes is going to just simply bring it over to Sparky's side. If anything does happen getting into this first course, which is going to introduce some pretty more into some more directional patterns, and we can see Sparky sort of choking a bit more on some of these patterns as well, as it does like sort of fluctuate in direction a lot of the time with these like sort of dumps, just simply expressing like the guitar, and it's very sort of like differentiating like tones, as we can see here, as it really just goes like in a bunch of different places to sort of like express itself and get its name out there.
Indeed. Though, as long as Sparky does keep his combo, he does still have a chance, as the lead is still quite small, especially going into continuing the map, especially going into that tree towards the ending of the map. Sparky does really have the chance here if he does get the trail right, while Saemitsu does drop it. But we're not quite here still. There's still quite some map until we get that trail.
Yeah, absolutely, and with Saemitsu still hanging on to the lead so far, both players only making it into the second course, as we can see here, which brings back some of the concepts that have been established in the first course. Saemitsu taking some great, but watch out for those jump trills. They can throw you off if neither player is careful enough, and so far I think it's only thrown off Sparky just by a bit, taking some of these grates off of some of these more rigid like sort of anchors that just sort of appear out of nowhere in this flow that you just gotta like keep intact. But despite that, Saemitsu going to keep the lead heads first and still hanging on despite the odds that may be against them in this situation.
Indeed, we're heading out towards that infamous trail, which gets faster, and it is right now. Will they hold it on?
Oh,
and
no.
they hold it on. Both did it. So this is very, very bad there, because he lost his occasion to force him to get a drop there. And as I say that, he does get the drop.
Crikey, same as it's taking a miss off of that, but Sparky trades it back as well. This actually might be very close, as the map only has a few seconds to go. Is there enough time? But it doesn't seem there is, and Sparky's just gonna make it out with this rice pick by only about less than 3,000 points. Just getting a 972k, and if it weren't for those misses from Saemitsu at the end, this probably could have spelled danger for Sparky, but Sparky, once again, gonna be preventing that loss from going on. The show must go on.
Indeed. And this is actually quite unexpected, as I actually thought Saemitsu would get the upper hand on the rice mat, but Sparky's consistency has surprised me so far by getting those 2 points on the rice 3 and rice 4 there.
Absolutely, Sparky pulling a lot of stops that had really benefited them in the end going into this match. It's good. Now it's just gonna leave Saemitsu. It's just gonna be down to Saemitsu to like just simply choose what they're gonna go with next, and it seems that they're gonna be going hybrid 3 next. So now here, there's only like a few maps on the board that are left to really exhaust, and obviously half the LNs are still available for both these players. But I think at this point, now they're just sort of just going and just picking like any map that they want that to just simply face each other on, which I guess is just sort of part of the fun here. I mean, it's a match between two players, and I don't think they're really... I don't think either of them are like taking the match like way too seriously, but in a good way, really. Like just simply like having fun, like having a good time with each other, just like simply just playing, just doing like what, just basically showing what a tournament is all about. Just simply like having fun and respecting like all the people around you, really.
Indeed, this is quite a match of showing the fair play and basically all these things of having fun. Because the thing is that when you take tournaments too seriously, you can be then frustrated, then anxious about if you lose or not. So this is really good, especially considering that these two players know each other very, very well. I'm not surprised that they take this match not too seriously, though they still try to make the best scores they can off of the maps. And this is also the most important.
Absolutely, and with this map being like the only other map like remaining in the hybrids, this is like gonna feature like a bunch. This is that map that really just has the one important section that both these players just gotta watch out for if they don't want to like end up choking this pick because of the one course so infamous at the end that can just cause like so many and way too many turntables that matter. Just getting through like this initial jump stream section, it seems that Saemitsu is gonna have the upper hand in terms of accuracy, as Sparky is just a bit behind in terms of accuracy, just only faltering under like just only faltering around 99.70%. Is slowly decreasing as well as Saemitsu brings the lead up, just feeding off of the misjudgments as we can see here as there is some Ellen jump streams introduced, but that is not going to last for very long as we are now already halfway through the map, and now it's just going to bring us into the very funny section that needs no introduction. Like, if you know this map, then I guess you know what's here to come.
Indeed, and there comes soon after those chords and those jump streams, and here we go.
Yeah, let's see how both these players manage with these mini jacks and trills. As we can see here, it's sort of all over the place. It's pretty feels sight readable at first, but then you realize for the fact that it's pretty rigid, and Sparky taking a miss that's basically gonna give Saemitsu the lead on this map, given that they haven't choked on any of these patterns. That's basically spelled the match already. This is basically spelled this map and pick already. Just given how there is not even enough time for matters to change here as it closes out with such a calm section. A great effort from Sparky, but unfortunately, this is not going to do anything. It's not going to be enough at the end of the day as Saemitsu brings the match to a match point in their favor, getting that 990k on the map and only 2 grades on this map. Are you kidding me?
This is a crazy score. I don't understand. Like, the accuracy is insane. And considering this map is also really short, the fact that Sparky got that miss pretty much sealed the deal there on this map, especially considering that on this map there's not much difficulty in terms of length. Like, there's parts of the map where this is quite calm, and the outro, which is just a couple of knots. So really, the KI and all the parts of this map are very, very short. So any mistakes would turn the favor to Saemitsu there, which just FC'd the map with an incredible score.
Yeah, absolutely. Hats off to Saemitsu there for getting such a strong score on the hybrid free map. But despite that, it seems that Sparky's going to be responding with a Rice 1 pick. So that's going to be Tropical April coming out now. And with this being like the potential final map of this match, especially, Sparky's going to be really careful if they want to be able to keep themselves in this tournament. Otherwise, the loser of this match is going to be unfortunately eliminated from the tournament. And that is not a fate that either of these players just want to face, like, deep down, really. But obviously, it depends, really. I mean, like, they've basically, like, sort of been taking the match for fun, like, throughout the whole thing. So it's no doubt that maybe one of them probably doesn't feel bad, like, about going out with a bang, at least.
I mean, I think neither of those two players will go by being frustrated or anything like that. I think they will actually go happy of losing and having such a wonderful match too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, in general, is really a blessing to be able to play in a tournament as, like, unique as this one in a way. Like, Like when you like, it's not like every day do you get to see like an interesting tournament such as this one in particular, where it just shows you like a bunch of concepts that are just not so common in Mania tournaments these days. And this tournament in general is like here to really shift this circle in terms of like what can be done with tournaments, like modern ones at least, that are not like really so mainstream. And as we can see here, both players just making it through the intro and not dropping anything. Sparky's just gonna have the slightest advantage, but the score is once again really close. Saemitsu having a bit of an accuracy advantage, but slightly dropping. Both players dropping to Sparky, taking that miss, ultimately giving the lead up to Saemitsu, getting almost past the first half. This is not the situation you want to be in this map, where it's just so consistent and straightforward that like any mistake can just cost you way too much for your own safety.
Indeed, especially considering this is a very, very dirty drop for Sparky there, also dropping a lot of accuracy there. So Saemitsu being in a really big position there.
Absolutely, and knowing Saemitsu's consistency even on Rice and their overall Rice accuracy has been very promising, like across this whole match, just not allowing themselves to falter way too much on any of the picks really, even through like some of these tight ones, and now with Sparky taking some chain misses on the handstream pattern there, that's only going to seal the deal and just simply secure the nail on that coffin for Sparky in this tournament. Unfortunately for them, a strong effort from both these players, but at the end of the day, it's going to be none other than Saemitsu making it out of the quarterfinals and making it out of the final match of the quarterfinals weekend overall, making it out with a fabulous 992k score on the Jumpstream map, and only 2 grades, bro.
Indeed, GG, well played to both players. They are really a great match for basically showing off such great performances throughout this weekend. Also, really good players there for all of the matches. And now I think we can just have a little bit of a break just before heading towards the Maple Showcase, which is actually going to be commentated by Patrage and Sparky, who just lost this match. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. A great effort from both these players, and with Saemitsu going into being the last player to make their way into the semifinals weekend, they're going to be facing C24 Ruler on the semifinals map pool next week. So we hope you stay tuned for that, as the semifinals weekend is basically gonna be just slowly shifting towards the late game of the tournament, and there's gonna be even more banger matches coming your way there. And there's so many matches that are just waiting to be played next week, and we hope that you all like stick around to watch them, and stick around for the semifinals map pool showcase if you're still playing as well. That's gonna be pretty important as well, you know.
Indeed, and unless you do have anything else to say, I think we can cut it off until the Maple Showcase.
Honestly, I'm satisfied with all I've said. There was like some scuff like around the beginning and also the last match as well, with my microphone just like not just simply cutting off, but I think it's gotten a bit better as this match went on due to the settings that I had adjusted like early on. So thank you all thank you to the people backstage for helping me out with that, you know.
Indeed, this went pretty smoothly actually once the microphone got fixed. So I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very happy with how this match turned out, and the previous the previous 2 matches as well. Just like in general being very tight, and it was so scary watching some of them as well, just like how close they were in principle. But despite that, I think it's safe to say we can just close the stream off here before we get onto the semis showcase.
Indeed, stay tuned guys, and see you later on the Maple Showcase.
Yep, we hope to catch you all then. Have a great evening.